So another episode of the This Week in Online Marketing. Chase, my co-host, is down in Salilito. How are things today?
Things are good. Beautiful as always.
Jealousy is not even the word, my friend. So we got a couple of things here I want to talk about. Let's start off with Amazon. I want to be, cautious about this, but I do think Amazon will become a much more relevant part of our life as the marketing online world sort of goes through its iterations. Amazon's becoming a player in the space not only just because of its size, but because of its inventions. And today we have the Echo being announced that its delivery will be, I think, the first week of July or second week of July, somewhere around there. And the big announcement is that it's really the competition of things. So this Echo device is something that sits in your living room or in your kitchen or wherever. It's a cylindrical type of device, very close to a Star Trek-like thing. I think it's going to get really popular. But it's like a Siri device. So it's like
Is
a
it cute? I haven't
yes.
seen it yet. Is it
No,
cute?
it's just a cylindrical little black device that sits, it just sort of like yay big. But the thing is, it's kind of like this now integration of Internet of Things, where instead of going to your computer or going to your phone, you walk in, you say, "Hey, the the, what's the score of the game?" And then
Yeah,
Pittsburgh 5, Cubs
yeah.
7.
There's another like robot thing I keep seeing on like Kickstarter and stuff like that. But
Sure, sure.
same idea.
So these things are coming. The thing about Amazon, it's got its built-in subscriber list, right? So
Yeah,
it can basically say, okay, you want this thing? It's going to be for Christmas a huge, huge seller. I can just see everybody's going to have one of these things. But one of the things that's interesting about it is that what I like that's coming is that Amazon's home services, which was announced earlier this year,
huh?
uh, could be a coordination of that. So think about it. You come home, the toilet's broken, there's water everywhere. I need a plumber. I've got a plumber for you. In the background you hear that, right? And so that
Yeah.
connects to Amazon's home services, which
It'd be funny
then,
if you could program it to like Jersey mode. Like, I know a guy. I got a
yes,
guy.
exactly. I got a guy. And so, home services is becoming more and more a player. So you think about this that, you could go on Amazon and now order a plumber, right? So instead of going and looking in Google or Yahoo, whatever. So now what's interesting is they're trying to figure out how to build this game. They just got sued by Angie's List this week because
Yeah.
they stripped all of the best people in home services from Angie's List to put them onto Amazon. So you can
Right.
really see this combination of like them trying to put all the dots together to create a revenue stream out of something that never existed before.
I mean, Amazon's clearly on the path of like global domination, right? And so Bezos seems to be a genius. This guy, Amazon, are they even profitable yet? I mean, they've been, kind of just going along year after year, and now it's starting to become like, wow, think of all the things they could do on top of the platform they already have. And so it'll be interesting if agencies like us are going to be starting to optimize, local business Amazon profiles as part of, the initial process. Because if these things really catch on, and it seems undoubtable that they will, I mean, people seem to want to have some sort of little virtual robot in their house that they just, shout out orders to, like, hey, it's freezing in here, turn up the heat, or
Right.
hey, like you said, I need a plumber, or hey, order me a pizza, or whatever. Um, so, I mean, it makes sense. And I mean, if anybody's in the position to do it, it's got to be Amazon, right?
Yeah, well, they have the list. I mean, everybody's a Prime
That
candidate or a
Prime
Prime
thing,
user.
man, they shoved it down my throat. I had no desire to be Prime, but it got to the point where I
Yeah,
was like, okay, fine, you're basically giving it to me, sure.
right, right. Well, and so the subscription model will end up sort of winning because
Hmm.
it's emotionally attachment too. So the next thing I want to talk about is the music services. So Apple now has their all-you-can-eat plan for $9.99 coming up next week, where
Uh-huh.
you can basically, it's a Pandora-like service where you can get streaming, music, set up your channels, blah blah blah, and you just, you're way, because this sort of terrestrial radio and the rest of the stuff is starting to fade because of the fact that everybody's got these earbuds in their ears. Well, why can we, how can we take attention of that or take attention of that?
Hmm.
So it begs the question now, Google now, to thwart that, has started their Google Music services, which is again all you can eat, but they don't charge anything because it's advertising supported. So now
Hmm.
you got Pandora, who's the main player in the space doing advertising, and now you get
Spotify.
Google and Apple, who's paid. So it's another platform, and we can see
This
local
is
services, entering this.
this is a huge arms race. I mean, you've got Spotify has already established a huge hold on the space. Um, you've got Jay-Z trying to push his new platform, which doesn't seem to be doing very well. The thing to me with these is it's amazing that they all do such similar things, but yet my favorite one of all of them, which recently got shut down, was Grooveshark, which was free ad
Right.
supported.
Sure.
They just didn't go about the licensing right from the beginning. So they got sued into oblivion. But the way that they built it around being more of like a social experience, like I would actually follow people who would curate great playlists, which
Of
is,
course.
I know you can do that on Spotify, but it just doesn't feel as good as it did. So I think the first people to really get that, and I mean, Pandora is, I think, already established. They're kind of like a niche within the niche, but like what you're saying, I think it's going to be who's going to figure it out the quickest, and then the ad thing will really take off. I mean,
Right.
this Pandora local business advertising, I mean, it makes so much sense because, they say right on their site, like, we have such targeted information on people. Um, it's really cool to me because, like, in the advertising industry, it's coming full circle. Like, radio ads were kind of for the past 5 years, like, people
Right.
pulling their budget out of that, putting it into online, and now it's kind of coming back around in a digital way, which is
Right.
pretty
So
cool.
full service digital agencies are going to have to cover, voice and video very quickly as a part of trying to become more
Yep.
relevant just because of the user base and because of the attention span. I mean, that's the real thing is that you've got attention span. People are not going to change out the Pandora station. It's just going to be in the background and
Hmm.
you run your health ad or your, hey, you need a, new hip replacement or whatever. It's in there. The question is going to be how effective, it is against traditional, pay-per-click and social media stuff. So last thing I want to talk about, and then you can talk to your side of the world, is the death of Matt Cutts. So Matt Cutts was the SEO guy. I have to talk about this because I have been
Or Matt
droning
Cutts.
on about this, meaning that I knew what happened, which was that he took really things too far within the framework of how he was doing and conducting himself in the public, and he got sort of shanghaied. So he was the SEO sort of guy, meaning that he was the person in charge of SEO for Google's spam and whatever you want to call it. He was the guy. And he was the guy that everybody in the marketing world knew. So if you're on this podcast, you don't know who he is, then look him up. But he's been now told he's got till the end of 2015, and then his benefits run out with Google. So I think this is kind of the end of an era, and I've been predicting this ever since last year. And I think that this really shows that we're in another realm of where marketing is ending up, which is that I think we're fading one section and moving into a new one, which is we're gonna now really think about the user and the metrics of the user. It's not about necessarily spamming websites. It's about the concept of how do we build user metric profiles in our strategy so that Google recognizes that, hey, this is actually like a really good site, that because we're seeing the real data, not we're seeing the profile
A
that's
million
out
links
there.
pointing at
Yeah,
it.
well, I mean, there's a thousand things you could think about which were traditionally used, but to me, I think this is the changing the guards, and we're on to a new evolution. So why don't you talk about your stuff?
You
Um,
hardcore SEO guys. I
yeah,
feel bad for Matt Cutts. I always liked that guy, but
yeah,
I mean, it makes sense what you're saying. The thing that I saw this week that really popped up, piqued my interest, was that you can now download the Facebook Messenger app without having a Facebook account, which to me is a sign of a much larger deal, which is this push to make Messenger connect with business now. So when they bought WhatsApp, I was thinking this is where they were going. It's been slow to roll out, but I mean, I envision a world in the very near future where every website has a Facebook Messenge us button or whatever, and that's just how you're going to talk to everybody, is just through the app on your phone, which to me is going to be awesome. Like, you have a problem with a business, you just hop on Messenger and chat them up instead of having to go through email or these other channels.
yeah. I think it's also the interaction issue, right? So the big problem has always been with these chat windows, chat boxes, and we've explored them as well, is that it's just not familiar, right? So everybody's very familiar with the interface of Facebook, and it just makes sense that you can carry that through.
They don't integrate very well with your phone. So it's like we have lots of clients that say, "I would love live chat, but who's going to run it?"
Mm.
And you have to go through like a third-party app to, be able to respond to people from your phone. And now Messenger solves that problem. So I think
Yeah.
it's pretty interesting. And it should be something that I think we're going to be doing for a lot of clients in the near future.
Yeah, makes sense. All right, Chase, another episode. We'll see you next week. And if you can, please give us a surf report before we start so I can get my thoughts around what type of board I should bring.
Will do.
All right, ciao.
See ya.